I gotta hype myself up. This quarantine has made me spiral into depression.
You're depressed?
No, not really.
I would like to think if you were depressed, the only thing that would make you happy is if you went like...
It works, doesn't it? It feels kind of good.
It does. If I were depressed, would you even be able to summon the strength to...
If you made yourself do it, it would make you feel a little better. So you can't do it and not smile, it seems like. Try it.
Well, you definitely can now.
I know.
Okay.
Lost again. That doesn't count.
If it doesn't work, then you're not clapping fast enough.
Yeah.
If you're not smiling, clap faster.
I have to get in the right mindset
right.
now. I'm not going to be able to do it. Looking at you while I try to do
if you're
this
depressed, try that. If it still doesn't,
see, that was just the Friends theme song. I only got the Friends theme song.
And now I really am depressed.
And now. Hello and welcome to PODZILLA. It's a sunny day.
It's been a sunny
raining
day.
A lot and it's been cold a lot, but today it's a sunny day. We've got the window open.
Yes, we kept the window open all week.
Yeah, it might set as the show progresses, but at least for right now, you get a nice little sunny view. If you're watching this video, please consider sharing it with someone who maybe hasn't come across our YouTube channel before.
Yeah.
Please consider liking and subscribing and commenting. That really does help us out a lot. We like to think that there's a lot of production value in the show, and we just want to get it in as many people's homes as possible and on as many phones and tablets and computers as possible. So please, we can't do that on our own. We need help. And so please, if you feel so inclined, please share this with tons of people. Share it on Facebook, share it on Instagram, share it on Twitter. And, you know, are you good over there?
I'm having mics. It like goes way down. Hey, I have an idea.
There you go. I'm just going
to be a little bit lower now.
Just a little lower.
Just a little bit.
But yeah, please consider sharing and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's really all I wanted to say.
I am one of your co-hosts through Lights and Magic. My name is Braden.
And my name is David. And the first thing that I want to talk about is a bit of pop culture news.
Love it.
New podcast hit the scene.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's a D&D podcast. It's called Keys to the Kingdom. It's basically a Disney-inspired D&D podcast. It's actually really cool because they've created their own, like, this world, like this fantasy world that encompasses all of Disney, almost as if all of the Disney stories took place in one universe, and it's in this world.
That's
so it's
really
pretty cool. So there's characters that are gargoyles, there's a character that's a genie, there's a character that's kind of an orc pirate, and then there's a character that's a stuffed animal from the 100 Acre Wood, and they all take place in the same universe together and all kind of cohabitate.
I would like to think that the orc pirate and the stuffed animal. You haven't
listened to it yet.
No, at the time of recording, I haven't because it came out yesterday. So I haven't gotten a chance to listen to it. But I would like to think that the orc pirate and the 100 Acre Wood stuffed animal are best friends, like unlikely best friends.
Yeah, well, they're brother and sister in real life.
Oh.
Anyway, and we know them. We know them, so that's part of it. My brother, who's been on the show before, he was on the Batman episode where we watched
my favorite episodes.
All of the Batman movies, and we tried to talk about all of them.
Yeah.
And it was exhausting. But he is the dungeon master, and he's written a really cool and compelling story. And then we've got our other friends like Noah Lombard. We've got Rebecca Willis and Daniel Willis and Rachel Smith, who is married to Johnny Smith, my brother. And they all do it together. And it's really cool. It's really fun. The only thing that I don't like about it is that I'm not in it.
That was the first thing I thought. I saw he posted and I was like, he never even texted me.
I know. Well, he texted us initially when he came up with the idea.
That's true.
And then we were like, yeah, let's do it. And then we didn't hear about it for a year. And then the next thing we see, he's like, I did it. You guys aren't in it. So sucks to be you.
And then I got really mad and I was just like, well, Johnny, I'm glad you did it.
Good for you.
Good for you.
Angry claps. Anyway, it's really good. I got to help out in a very small way I got to make like the cover art for it. So
cool.
That was fun.
Yeah.
So I got to do that for them, but it's really cool. It's really fun. It's really funny. So go check out Keys to the Kingdom.
Totally.
Origins is what this arc is called, is Keys to the Kingdom Origins, which is kind of telling a little bit of a backstory.
That sounds
I assume about how their characters came together.
Start at the beginning. You don't want to start
started with a prequel.
Yeah.
To, I'm assuming, what the main event is, unless Origins just is episode 1.
It would make sense if it was episode 1, but also
it's kind of like
they're telling it in sequential order, which I can respect. Because it doesn't happen a lot. If you start at the very beginning, build it from there.
Yeah.
Every successful franchise starts what you think is the beginning, but then they always go back.
Yeah, well, I think the only thing now is to lobby for us to be on the show. So that's what this is.
Please.
Anyway, so go listen to Keys to the Kingdom. It's really great.
Yeah.
And a lot of fun to listen to. So check it out if you like D&D, if you like Disney.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
In other pop culture news, Sam Raimi is confirmed. He's directing
He is.
Thor. Nope. Not Thor.
He's directing Doctor Strange.
I'm all over the place,
Multiverse of
man.
Madness. You're being distracted by whatever's outside.
It's so pretty outside. I want to go outside, but I'll get arrested.
Yeah, so Sam Raimi. So if you don't know who Sam Raimi is, he directed the first original 3 Spider-Man movies starring Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst, Willem Dafoe in the first movie, as well as,
James Franco.
Topher Grace, James Franco.
Out of all people in all 3 movies, just throw him in there.
Yeah, throw Topher Grace in there. He deserves it. He wanted it.
He wanted it real bad.
He wanted it, and everybody hates him for his Eddie Brock. And
bless his heart.
Bless his heart.
Here's what I'm saying. Okay, Tom Hardy is obviously a better Venom.
Right.
Because he's Tom Hardy. He's better anything.
Yeah.
But also, let's not forget that in that movie, at one point, I've only seen it once, and I never really care to see it again, but doesn't his girlfriend get the symbiote at some point and they make out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's not forget that happened.
Yeah. That movie is a dumpster fire.
It is a dumpster fire.
It's an easy dumpster fire of a movie. For sure, Venom.
Let's not forget that happened in...
No, Venom seems like it came out too late. The way that it's filmed, the way that it's written is very 2004. It's very Sam Raimi Spider-Man. But yeah, there's a lot. I mean, the best part of it is just Tom Hardy's performance. He does a great job because he's Tom Hardy. But
remember when he didn't he eat a lobster? He ate a lobster live.
He did something like that. I don't remember.
He got in a lobster tank and he ate one.
Yeah.
So let's not forget that happened either.
Because Venom gives him the hunger.
Right. He wants to eat people.
He wants to eat everything, it seems like.
Okay.
He's basically...
anything that he's not allowed to eat.
He wants to eat.
Do you think that... hang on. Do you think that they wrote Venom's character in the new Venom movie to just want anything he's not allowed to have? Just for the sake of him, like, that being funny? Or is that in the comic books?
I don't know. I don't think that's really like a... if it is in the comic books, it has nothing to do with any sort of... they spent way too much time on it in the movie.
That's a big thing in the movie.
They didn't spend that much time on it.
He wants to eat people's heads. I specifically remember him saying, I want to eat somebody's head. You should eat his head. And
Maybe.
He does at one point.
I've only seen it once, and much like you, I didn't care to see Venom a second time, even though they're making a second Venom.
Also, let's not forget about Woody Harrelson's wig in the post-credit scene.
Yeah, and he's signed on for probably to be Carnage.
Yeah.
We're thinking, so we'll see how that goes.
Anyways, But
Sam Raimi, who directed the original Spider-Man.
That's right.
2 good Spider-Man movies, 1 not so good Spider-Man movie, in my opinion. Really, 1 good Spider-Man movie, 1 great Spider-Man movie, and then 1 not good Spider-Man movie in that order. Yeah. I watched the third one at the IMAX, like a huge IMAX, and it gave me motion sickness, and I've hated it.
Honestly, I don't. Whenever I saw it in theaters, I didn't hate it because I was also really young. So I didn't
gave it
really...
10 stars on IMDb.
I'm sure I did.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure I did. But for real, like I don't remember hating it, and I haven't watched it in a couple years. But I honestly don't think I would hate it, and maybe we should revisit the trilogy.
Absolutely,
that'd be a fun episode.
Absolutely,
especially since he's back in the comic book scene. comic book movie scene. Maybe we should watch the first 3 Sam Raimi movies.
What we should do is you and I will get together and we'll watch the movies, and we'll record ourselves watching the movies and commenting on the movies, and then we'll post that on the YouTube as a separate video, YouTube video.
I like that a lot more, because watching them all in 1 week and then talking about them all, trying to fit it into an hour, that was a lot last time. We did 4 movies, but still.
Right. Absolutely.
I think that's perfect.
Yeah. So let's do that instead.
I love it.
So yeah, anyway, Sam Raimi, we've been going off on those rabbit trails. Sam Raimi, he did the first Spider-Man movies. He really kind of started the whole superhero Hollywood hype train.
Totally.
Like before that, we had Batman movies, and they had
sizzled out.
The Tim Burton's, the Tim Burton movies that did really well, and then they had slowly gotten more corny and become more, about selling toys. Right. Sam Raimi brought it back in 2000, right? 2000 or 2001. I'm just gonna say 2000. That's the first one. Sam Raimi brought it back in 2002 after we had some hiatus from superhero movies with Spider-Man, and started the revolution of what now has become Marvel movies. Yeah. Brought Marvel back to the forefront of people's attention.
Absolutely.
Or at least the mainstream's attention. I know for me, like as a kid, I had cartoon, I had the comic books and toys and stuff from like the cartoons, but because we still had X-Men and Spider-Man cartoons and stuff like that. Yeah. Anyway, he brought it back to a live action format.
That upside down kiss. My goodness.
It's epic.
Epic.
It's epic.
That was the back of the VHS case, if you remember. The back of the sleeve was the upside down kiss. Mm-hmm. I remember being in preschool, kindergarten, and it was movie Friday, and my best friend at the time.
At school it was movie Friday?
At school it was every Friday we would watch a movie.
Oh, cool. You didn't watch Spider-Man? In kindergarten, your teacher played Spider-Man for you.
So my parents had rented it from Movie Gallery, and they let us watch it, but we had to close our eyes at certain scenes. Because really, it's PG-13 because of violence. There's not really any language. Yeah. They fast-forward the kissing scene, or we would close our eyes through the kissing scene.
This was at school.
But at school one day,
your parents would let you.
Right.
Okay.
My parents let us see
I thought that you were saying at school, your teachers would let you watch it.
Hang on, because at home, my parents would let us watch it, but they would never let us watch it without adult supervision. They'd make us close our eyes at the kissing scene. They'd make us close our eyes.
When Green Goblin gets impaled.
Especially there. And then the bomb scene. The
house on fire.
The house on... No, they would let us watch it.
He turns around and screams.
Whenever Aunt May, whenever the Green Goblin attacks Aunt
when
May.
she's praying and he blows through the...
Yeah, because they didn't like it because he attacked her while she was praying. So...
Okay.
I mean, come on, man.
Okay. In the Green Goblin's defense, he didn't know she was praying.
That's true.
He was just attacking her.
But also, nothing bad can happen when you pray, man. If you're praying, you're safe. It's your safe space, man.
It was just happenstance. In defense of the Green Goblin, he didn't know Aunt May was praying, because if he did, and I think your parents would understand, he would have waited outside until the time was right. He would have been
like right outside the window. He's like, all right, it's time to... Oh, she's praying. She's right in the middle of it. Hang on, let's wait.
And then Aunt May's just like, amen. Boom, boom, and then it goes through the wall. To be fair,
that's true.
That's interesting.
That's true.
Hey,
so
I respect your parents.
Prayers to safe space, man. Prayers to safe space.
That's great.
Anyways, kindergarten, movie Friday. My friend Daniel Hutchins brings out Spider-Man VHS, and they're like, my teacher looks at it, and she's like, I love this movie. Or he is. I had a male. Also, I had the craziest kindergarten teacher because he was like 6'3", male, and he also on his desk had a picture of him wrestling a bear at Mississippi State, where he graduated college.
He sounds super cool.
Yeah, he was, but also as a kindergartner, looking up to this behemoth of a man who wrestles a bear in his free time, terrified him. Yeah. Terrified me. I have many other stories from kindergarten that maybe we can get into later, but he looks at the back of the movie. He's like, it's PG-13. Maybe we shouldn't watch it.
And then all of you 6-year-olds convinced him?
Yes, so we did. And then one kid...
How was one fully grown man he wanted to watch it at a school. Yeah, he wanted to watch it. He was open to any excuse.
His name was Mr. Brown.
He's probably been fired since then for letting a kid watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre in kindergarten. It's a slippery slope.
It is a slippery slope. But everybody wanted to watch it. We watched it, and one kid, I'm guessing, he either had a nightmare or he went home and tattled, and one parent didn't like it, and we got in trouble for
watching it.
Or he got in trouble or something. I just remembered we couldn't watch anything else.
Buck Wild ape. She's crazy.
It is because we watched it.
Let a room full of 6-year-olds on the clock when he's getting paid on a Friday. Not watch Magic School Bus. Not watch Reading Rainbow or Between the Lions.
Bro,
we're gonna put on PG-13 Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
Yeah, man.
And just give you guys some nightmare.
So that was the first time I ever felt unsafe praying. Because I finally saw the scene, I was like, "Oh no!
Oh no! My whole faith, it's
my
shattered.
whole faith. I gotta fold my prayer rug and put it away. I have to hide it."
The shofar's not safe. Anyway, so we'll watch the movies. But Sam Raimi made those movies, and he did a great job until I'm sure studios started trying to tell him what to do.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
He's working on... I'm trying to keep this boat afloat. He's working on... he's officially directing Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which is exciting, which begs the question.
Yeah.
It's in... Multiverse is in the title. Yeah. Sam Raimi is now working on an MCU movie, an official MCU movie.
Yeah.
Not a Sony, owned Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
The question begs to be asked whether Spider-Man... Tobey Maguire Spider-Man should show up or should not show up. And
it would be
and if that's the case, should Andrew Garfield also show up? And should there be a multiverse of different Spider-Men from different movies that we've seen before? I mean, it's retcon at its finest.
Yeah.
But it would be very satisfying to watch three different Spider-Men come up against
It's not the time or place to do it.
It's not. It's absolutely not. But I'm saying...
If he was hired to do Spider-Man Furthest From Home 3, right?
Yeah.
Then it's a Spider-Man movie, so let it be a Spider-Man. This is Doctor Strange, though.
Right.
If Tobey Maguire shows his face in anywhere other than a post-credit scene or Andrew Garfield, then it's a Spider-Man movie. It's that, hey, remember when Spider-Man was in that Marvel movie? Mm-hmm. It would no longer be a Doctor Strange movie. And I personally think that
but do you think
they should do is he'll make a really great horror multiverse movie, mind-bending, weird craziness.
Right.
What he's known for, and also what would be really cool to see with Doctor Strange.
Absolutely.
But then they'll leave it open-ended, and maybe a post-credit scene will have Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield or even Tom Holland finding out how to tap into this multiverse. Mm-hmm. And then from there... we can visit that in another movie. But also with Spider-Man 3, because, spoilers for Far From Home, at the very end, J. Jonah Jameson comes out.
And it's the same J. Jonah
also
Jameson.
J.K. Simmons, but he outs him as Tobey Maguire, as Peter Parker.
Spider-Man, right.
Right. He outs Peter Parker as being Spider-Man. And I don't think you can do that story of him coming to terms with his secret identity becoming known, as well as let's go to the multiverse and hang out with Andrew and Toby. Mm-hmm. So I don't really know where to bring it in.
I don't think it should be brought in at all. Mm-hmm. I just think it's a nice thing to daydream about and talk about and do what would the plot be of the movie? If
I saw Tobey Maguire back as Peter Parker, back as Spider-Man, I don't want a 5-minute cameo. I don't want a post-credit scene. I say that, but if I got one, I'd be like, this is the greatest day of my life.
Yeah.
But I think the best / funnest scenario that could play out in is Into the Spider-Verse 2, the animated movie, where Andrew Garfield could come back, Toby could come back, Tom could be in it, and they're just voicing it. Nobody's got to train. Toby doesn't have to have a haircut. I don't know what Toby's doing nowadays.
Me neither.
Probably just enjoying residuals, as he probably should. But yeah, I don't think it's the time or place for it, especially in a Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah, I agree. It's just, it's fun to think about. And I think it'll be nice to just see Sam Raimi back in a superhero movie because, we know that he can handle a franchise. Yeah. And two, like, we know that he's already had Doctor Strange on, like, in the crosshairs, because they even mentioned Doctor Strange in the original trilogy when they're trying to come up with a name for Dr. Octopus, and they're like in the Daily Bugle, and he's like, how about we call him, they're trying to figure out like a headline and he's like, how about Doctor Strange? And J. Jonah Jameson's like, he already exists. And so he's been on Sam Raimi's radar for a minute.
That's right.
So it's kind of cool. That's like a little full circle. Like he almost gave himself an Easter egg for 20 years later in a weird way.
So what's funny is my dad used to be into comic books. Not the biggest comic book fan, but also he would like read Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Doctor Strange like exclusively. That's the only comic books he read. And I remember going through his toolbox one day, or his tool bench or whatever, and I found this massive Doctor Strange comic book, and I read it, but it was buried underneath, I guess used to when you had a kid, they would, like the hospital would gift you cigars, like It's a Boy and It's a Girl cigars. So he had those boxes like on top of the...
So you smoked a cigar and read Doctor Strange.
I smoked a 15-year-old cigar, and I was enjoying me some Doctor Strange.
Yeah. Good for you. That's quite the day. That was the day you became a man.
I was like...
You just immediately threw up.
I was like, oh!
Inside the tool bench.
Just shut the drawer. This is the worst day of my life.
Moving on. There have been a lot of cons to being stuck inside.
Yeah.
Technically, I think that we could get in trouble because we're not 6 feet apart right now. We're like maybe 4 feet apart.
Technically.
So we're not properly social distancing, which is not a good thing. But
I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. I would say that we're doing it wrong, but also I'm not going to stop.
Yeah.
Just with you, though.
But there have been a lot of cons, but there have also been some pros. Obviously, there have been some sort of stimulus, things that have been going on. So, with that being said, I don't know, and I don't know who's getting like money from the government or whatever. But say you come into in that range of $1,200, and you are told you can only spend it on something super nerdy. What would you spend that money on?
Okay. So would I have to spend it on one big thing?
No.
Just what would I spend it on, period?
Right.
I would say movies, but also like there's not that many movies out right now.
That's a good one thing.
If you didn't have a movie collection we keep up with it, every Tuesday if a movie comes out we buy it. But if I would say a movie collection, but also something way cooler. What would you do it on? Do you have something in mind?
No, I don't have anything in mind necessarily. I've always wanted to have like a full, like screen accurate costume of Indiana Jones from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like screen accurate, like legit. Everything that Harrison Ford wears to my body type.
Yeah.
Like leather jacket. I mean, like legit though, like aged, like looks like when I wear it, I look like him. I don't, obviously.
Right.
But I've always wanted that. So that comes to mind for some strange reason.
Here's the thing. Can I barter with you?
If I had that, I would wear it every episode.
Can I barter with you? So if let's say that exactly, tax included, the grand total of screen accurate Indiana Jones costume is $1,200.
I don't think it would be, but that just comes to mind.
But let's just say it is. Let's say that after taxes, after everything, it's exactly $1,200. Heather's not mad at you because you don't spend anything out of the bank account for this screen accurate leather jacket and cargo pants.
It's kind of like the scene from Parks and Rec where they're doing treat yourself and Ben wears the Batman suit. Perfect. And he's just like, I am going to treat myself. He starts crying in the Batman suit.
Perfect. So let's say that that's what it is. Would you
And I know it sounds silly, and I can't like stress this enough that I've been obsessed with Indiana Jones since I was like 5 years old.
You're in good company, right?
Right.
Everybody loves pop culture here. Nobody's judging you.
I know.
Let's say it's exactly $1,200. You buy it. You're wearing it. Mm-hmm. What if I offered you his Temple of Doom outfit? You know, full open chest, sleeves ripped off, half the outfit because it's without sleeves and everything, and without the leather jacket for $600. Would you take it, or would you spend the extra $600 for sleeves and a?
Can I spend the extra $600 for what he wears in Last Crusade instead?
You could just buy the sleeves and the jacket.
I just need a black tie. He just wears a black tie. That's really the only difference. Most of the movie, he literally has the same thing on as the first movie with a black tie.
Yeah. Maybe for the $1,200, what we'll do is next time, for next episode, since we should have it by then, you buy your Indiana Jones costume. I buy screen accurate Marion costume from India with the red pants and the white.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll probably have a little bit left over, probably about $450 left over because I'm not getting a jacket. I get a monkey and some dates. Dates right here, monkey on my shoulder.
So you would rather be Marion than dress up like Sala, a man?
What? I already said that, didn't I?
You did.
I already committed to it, didn't I?
Yeah.
For the sake of the joke, well, I guess I'll just be Marion.
Me and Heather love dressing up for Halloween, and we're kind of getting to the point now where we have to like one up ourselves every year.
You're Gamora and
we
Star-Lord
did Gamora and
costume.
Star-Lord. We did Mario and Luigi.
That's right.
And you know we really like kind of committing to like let's do something really cool. Anyway, I think that it might be cool if I'm dressed like Indiana Jones and she's dressed like Short Round.
But how would you make that not insensitive in today's culture?
I'm not making her like just wearing the costume, you know?
Yeah.
I've seen all sorts of nationalities wear Elsa costumes on Halloween.
What?
We're all welcome.
What does he say whenever Short Round is about to drive off? Hold on to your potatoes, Dr. Jones.
Yeah.
What does he say? Does he say that?
Yeah, hold on to your potatoes. I like when he goes, when Indiana Jones, because Willie hid the antidote to the poison that he drank in her shirt, and he like reaches in to get it, and Short Round goes, "Whoa, no time for love." I like that part.
Maybe that should be the motto of the podcast. No time for love.
No time for love.
Time to talk about movies.
But I that's the first thing that comes to mind, but I don't know if that's what I would really. I don't think I could justify spending $1,200 on like essentially a cosplay.
Yeah, but also that leather jacket's pretty versatile.
But I'm saying like fitted, you know, like I'm saying custom hat that looks legit. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because you can put on a fedora and they never look like that fedora on Harrison Ford's head looks.
It doesn't. I'm sure that fedora. How much is a authentic leather fedora that's fitted to your head? I'm sure it's.
Well, his isn't leather.
It's not leather?
His hat's not leather. No,
you're right. It's not. I'm thinking of.
It's like
Barbosa.
I don't know. You thinking of like Jack Sparrow or something? I guess
so.
No, his is more like not like a felt, but maybe like a wool or a, not flannel, but you know, kind of that. I don't know, maybe a wool. But it fits him so well and it looks so good on his head. You can buy a fedora, it's not going to look like that. Yeah. I have 2 Indiana Jones official fedoras.
Really?
Yeah. Because as you know, and we've said on the podcast before, I've collected Indiana Jones stuff since I was, you know, a little kid. So I have 2 Indiana Jones, like emblem on the inside, Indiana Jones official fedoras. And they don't look on my head like they look on Harrison Ford's head.
Does anything look like anything compared to Harrison Ford wearing it?
No.
Even present day?
No.
I feel like if he put on my shirt, I would just burn
that earring with the feather that he wears
ridiculous.
Looks dope.
Ridiculous. You know what I say? I say whenever we retire.
When we own our movie theater.
The day we buy the Hollywood 18, we get our ears pierced.
Oh gosh. What's funny is the other day, so my niece has like fake earrings and Heather jokingly put them on my ears.
Yeah.
And she like took a step back and she literally was disappointed because she was like, I actually don't hate it. She was like kind of grossed out with herself because she thought she was going to hate it.
Yeah, you look
and
like
then she made me leave them on.
Really?
And I ended up taking them off, but
yeah,
she made me leave them on.
I feel like if I wore earrings, I would just look like Adam Sandler from Uncut Gems.
Oh, that's not a good look.
No, it's
not a good look.
It's not.
No, so here's kind of something else that we can bring into the conversation while we're talking about if you could spend a moderately exorbitant amount of money on something that would literally just either hang in your house or be whatever.
Yeah.
There's a new show coming out on Disney Plus called Prop Culture, which is all about movie props. And it's about this guy who, it's coming out, I think, May 1st. And it's all about this guy who just collects movie props and has like, in his house, he has like like one of the original Ninja Turtle suits. And like he collects movie props. And so he's going around and like, basically they're doing like documentary style show about him like finding props, like movies like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Chronicles of Narnia, all these movies.
Just finding popular
He's finding the props and they're talking about the history and how they were made and all this stuff. I'm absolutely going to watch the show.
Yeah, sounds awesome.
So with that being said, if you could spend an exorbitant amount of money on one legitimate official certificate of authenticity movie prop, what would it be? And let's narrow it down a little bit, right?
Let's not make it like
threshold.
I would like first thought would be like my personal all-time favorite, because I'm a car guy. My personal all-time favorite car from any sort of pop culture is the 1960s Batmobile, the black one with the red pinstripes. You can't get that for a stimulus check.
No.
So let's say in the
okay. Well, if let's do this. Car would be a Batmobile.
That would be
Mine would be the DeLorean, hands down.
Imagine how cool we'd look driving down the street,
rolling up in the Batmobile and the DeLorean.
Yeah.
But obviously, let's narrow it down though to something that you could display like in your house, right? Like on a wall.
Yeah.
Or something you could display on a shelf or on a wall, on a whatever entertainment system.
It would be a couple of things. It would either be, I would love to have Mace Windu's lightsaber, like actual Samuel L. Jackson's that he like wrote bad mother effer in it. That would be super cool to have.
Totally.
And then also the briefcase from Pulp Fiction where they open it and it's shines gold.
Totally.
That'd be a cool thing to have. I'm trying to think of something else as well. Something that would hang on my wall.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just, my mind always goes to classics. I would love to have Marty McFly's hoverboard. Put that on the wall.
I used to have one.
Like a legit
Not
one?
like certificate of authenticity,
right, but like an actual sized one.
Yeah, I took it to...
That's awesome.
Because I went to Bonnaroo one year, a music festival, and they had an 80s Super Jam. Members from bands that were at Bonnaroo would come and they would do a Super Jam, and it was a ton of fun, but it was all 80s music, so everybody dressed up in 80s costumes, and I dressed up as Marty McFly with the hat and the hoverboard and the
Where's the hoverboard now?
I sold it for an exorbitant amount of profit on eBay.
Was it from Bond? Where did you get it?
I bought it off Amazon for like $60, and it was.
They stopped making it or something.
I have no clue. But I put it up for auction on eBay. Never made any claims about it being like, legit. I just paid $60 and I made $400.
Wow.
No clue why.
That's crazy because a couple years ago I bought one on eBay for $400. It was a bidding war. Not really.
I have no clue why.
I think like the hoverboard would be cool. I think like Bill Murray's proton pack from Ghostbusters.
You know what would be cool? You know what would be cool? The robot hand from Terminator, whenever he gets his hand like melted off.
Yeah,
I would love that.
Absolutely.
I would love that. That would be cool. I'm trying to think of other things.
Those are the first things that come to mind for sure for me. Maybe
the dead body from Stand By Me.
No. maybe something obscure though. Like maybe Liam Neeson's wig from Phantom Menace. Like just on
maybe Liam Neeson's wig from Clash of the Titans.
Maybe, but I'm saying, how funny would it be just on a shelf to have like a mannequin head with like realistic, like his hair with like the braid going down the back, just kind of flowing.
You get that for $11.99, and you get his Clash of Titans wig for $1.
For $1, because that's they're basically giving it away at this point.
You got to pay for shipping.
They paid me $1,200 to take it off their hands. Those are some of the first things that come to mind. I want to be like more obscure though, because there are a lot of cool props in movies that we're not even thinking of because we're
Gwyneth
just like
Paltrow's head from Seven.
Just the box.
Just
from
the
Seven.
box.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Just a cardboard box. Like, hey, one day you come home, you just want to sit and look at the box, and you're like, "Where's the box?" And then Sydney or your wife is like, "Threw it away. Why'd you set a box on our counter?
Why'd you set it up? Threw it away. It's recycling day.
That was a $1,200 box.
That was the box.
What do you mean?
That was
box?
the what's in the box box.
Where's the what's in the box box? Where's the what's in the box?
John Doe has the upper hand now. Don't open that box. Don't open that box. I like how you just run it. John Doe has the upper hand now.
John Doe has the upper hand now.
Don't open that box. What's in the box? What else? I mean, anything from Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight series would be awesome. Like just the belt,
just about
framed above, above your, above your couch, up against the wall. Just the Batman belt framed.
That'd
a couple
really
batarangs.
Cool. His batarangs were dope.
There's so many stuff, so much stuff, so many things.
So many things.
I don't know if you could display it in your house though. Would be the phone booth from Bill and Ted.
I thought about that. That would be cool.
That'd be pretty cool, but that's not really a display in your house thing.
It'd be cool to set it up in a corner, put a plant on top of it, one that drapes down on top of it.
I would honestly love one of the original, like these Ninja Turtle suits. I got to wear one once.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the night I proposed, and we came straight to you.
Yeah.
Took some pictures with the Ninja Turtles.
I got to wear a screen accurate
Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
You were
Ninja Turtles
Mikey, right?
I was Michelangelo.
I was so bummed because I had the opportunity to, but I was too tall. Just barely too tall.
Yeah.
Because I think you were right at the threshold, and I might have been like half an inch or an inch. But they're so valuable that,
Yeah, they could.
You're not allowed.
And it was, I mean, once you got in that suit, it was like very, it was legit. It was legit.
That's cool. Yeah, I remember. You guys looked awesome. All of you guys did.
Yeah, I was excited about that.
Oh, I got one. I would love any of the miniature sets from any of the original Star Wars. Maybe like a miniature AT-AT or a miniature...
Like that they use for the stop motion stuff.
Yes. Honestly, a miniature AT-AT would be the best.
Totally.
That'd be... Or like a miniature speeder or a ship or an A-Wing or an X-Wing.
Yeah, like Luke speeder.
The miniature Death Star.
That'd be cool.
That'd be dope.
That'd be cool to just hang from the ceiling.
So cool, yeah. Yeah, that'd be that's the top.
That's epic. Yeah,
that's the top. That's well more than a stimulus check.
I'd just take maybe like an ET, like just standing in the corner always. Just ET the extraterrestrial with his finger up, and there's like a built-in light in the finger, so just like it's motion sensitive. So every time you walk past ET, the light just.
See, that's a really good idea, and I want to copy it. So what I'll do is I'll get the sick ET. Whenever
the all white shriveled up one.
I'll get that one at a discount.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Like you'll pay the full $1,200. I'll pay $8.99.
Ah, cool.
It's not like as cool, and I obviously
there's so many cool movie things. There's so many cool movie things.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Anyway, I'm really excited to watch Prop Culture. It looks really cool.
It looks really, really cool.
And I mean, let's talk about this real quick too. Yeah, so I was reading that there was a study done in San Diego, UC San Diego, that says that spoilers in books and movies are... So if a movie gets spoiled for someone, it ends up making the movie more enjoyable to them than experiencing it firsthand.
Where was this at?
This was a study that UC San Diego psychology researchers did, where they basically got 30 test subjects and had them read 12 short stories. Some of them read the story flat out. Some of them had the story spoiled for them beforehand. And they found that more people who had the story spoiled for them enjoyed the story more than the people just reading it.
It's the UC Southern California. Okay, what's the college again? Say the college name one more time.
UC San Diego.
Okay, burn it to the ground.
That's what it says right here. UC
I would
San
say
Diego.
UC San Diego, just burn the college to the ground. The whole thing.
But let me do some more digging here. But state your case. State your case.
Okay, there's nothing worse than a spoiler. There's not a single thing worse than a spoiler. Especially with, like, in particular with movies. But also, man, like, so my wife's father, my father-in-law, is awful with spoilers. Awful with...
Like he spoils things for others?
Yes.
Intentionally or unintentionally?
Every day. It's because it's not a big deal to him. So I'm a couple episodes behind of a show I really enjoy called Westworld, right? And so on Easter, it was raining and, you know, it's quarantine, so you're not really supposed to go anywhere. There's nobody over. So my brother-in-law, both of them, and I went upstairs and we're like, let's watch some Westworld. He is all caught up. And so anytime anything would happen,
he'd be looking at you like...
Yeah, well, it started off that way. He's also the worst with spoilers, so we kind of knew it was coming. But also, a character would do something, and then he'd be like, oh, do you think that's the last we see of him? Even that, I was like, well, why would you ask me that? Why?
That's not on my mind right now.
No. And, like, also, if he comes back, like, so this, in particular, this character dies in the scene. He gets shot, right? And then later, like, as soon as he gets shot, like, it hasn't even processed in my mind that this dude is dead. He's like, do you think he comes back?
He might as well have been like, he's going to come back.
Right. And I'm like, hey, Chad, stop being such a Chad.
Yeah.
Okay? Back up. Chad.
So Chad.
Chad.
So Chad.
Chad, back up.
Back off, Chad.
And then, so I don't say anything because I don't want to.
You don't want to open the can of worms.
No,
he just dangled it in front of you.
Right,
Like,
I don't
want to take a bite of this.
Right, but his sons, my brothers-in-law, they are like, Dad, shut the heck up. And then he gets mad at them for saying shut up. He's like, what I do to you guys? I just asked you a question.
I'm just asking a question to the room. Yeah. I didn't tell him he was going to come back in 2 episodes.
Nope. But really, it missed his heart by 2 inches and he's just fine, okay?
Yeah.
No, that isn't what happened in the series. And also, but like for real, even just that just makes me angry because then you're thinking about it, then you're overthinking it, and then what if, like, if he does come back, it's not as spectacular as you want it to be, and then it disappoints. And then it's all about the suspense and the journey up to the plot twist or to the return. And then if you don't have that suspense, then it loses all of the impact. Yeah. So no, burn UC San Diego to the ground.
Or whatever other schools have done this. Apparently a lot of psychology schools.
Hey, everybody just drop out of college.
But you got to think of it from both perspectives. I'm just being devil's advocate at this point for the sake of conversation.
Absolutely.
Sometimes, if you know that a character is coming back, when they do come back, it's more satisfying because you were like ready for it and expecting it. It's like, oh, finally, this is happening. Here's an example.
Sure.
In Infinity War, when Captain America catches the spear and he walks out of the shadows, right?
Yeah, right.
You knew he was coming back. I mean, that's not a huge spoiler, but it could have been spoiled for someone maybe.
Sure.
You didn't know that was how he was going to come back.
Yeah.
But when he walks out of that shadow and his theme music kind of plays as the train, goes by, that's a satisfying thing. Yeah. And I think if somebody would have told me, oh, Captain America comes back in this one, that is a spoiler. Right. We didn't know that for certain. We knew he was around. But if someone would have told me that, then I would have been expecting it. And when it did happen, I'd have been like, oh, that was satisfying.
It depends on the degree of the spoiler.
I guess, yeah.
And
I guess
also,
that's
it depends on the impact of the spoiler. Because if they're like Captain America comes back, well, you knew that also.
Yeah, we already
because
knew that was
the trailer
happen.
Spoils it. It shows him walking out of the shadows. It doesn't show
when or where.
Right. It doesn't show when, where, or
context.
How. It doesn't show him catch the spear or whatever. But it shows that he's back and he's got a sexy little beard. Right.
Yeah.
It shows that,
and he's ripped the star off of his.
That spoiler just gets you excited. It shows you what could happen in this movie. But if somebody came up to you and said, "Hey, Thanos snaps at the end of the episode, or at the end of the movie.
Peter Parker disappears, and Doctor Strange disappears, and so and so, and so and so, and Bucky.
If somebody says that, you punch them in the throat so that they can't talk anymore.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
That's all you do. You laugh at them while they wheeze on the ground. That's all you do. That's the only thing to do.
And the sad part about that is, you got to punch them in the throat, but nobody's the winner here.
Right. Exactly.
It didn't make you any happier that you punched them in the throat, but now it's like, but I'm still sad that now this is spoiled for me.
Yeah. Because
nobody wins in this.
Because it's all about the anticipation of the journey, right? At some point, this journey is going to end. At some point, this character will die. At some point, this character might return.
So should there be spoiler consent?
Yeah, some people
have
love
to give
spoilers.
consent for spoilers.
Yes, because like people like you and I'm all about that journey. I'm all about that journey.
Personally.
No, don't give me anything. I've stopped if I'm super excited for a movie, I'll stop watching trailers.
Yeah,
I won't watch them. Mainly because I want that ride.
Yeah,
and trailers normally. I say normally because some trailers do. They don't spoil the whole movie. Some trailers you watch like, okay, well, I just watched the whole movie. Others, like Endgame, right? Everybody's half the world is gone. Half the universe is gone.
Yeah.
Tony is stranded out in outer space. You don't know. You obviously know he's going to be okay and he's going to be rescued, but you don't know how he's going to be rescued. You don't know if they're going to get everybody back. You don't know if there's going to be another battle. Like if somebody's spoiled, like, oh, there's time travel and there's this and this and this, then you're like, well, then I just waited a year for nothing. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like I said, don't shoot the messenger, Braden. I'm just communicating what some research has shown. I don't think I agree with it either, right. And I agree with what you're saying, but I can kind of see maybe they enjoyed the movie more because they weren't spending so much time shocked. Does that make sense? Like, for example, I'm sure that you knew that Darth Vader was Luke's father before you watched Empire Strikes Back. You already knew that just because of pop culture, right? And you definitely, at least once you watched the movie, like with intention of like watching it for the story, you already knew that, but it didn't make it any less satisfying. And maybe you enjoyed the movie more for the whole story itself. Yeah. Because if you didn't know that and you watched the movie, having not known that Luke, like they thought, obviously, even that was a shock to the actors, right. But if you didn't know at all and Darth Vader says, "No, I'm your father," then you would have spent the next 10 minutes so shocked that you would have zoned out of the story itself.
Well, here's this. I almost didn't bring up this point because I didn't want to be that guy. Like, well, actually, but also it plays into what you just said. So I am going to say it. So I didn't know that Darth Vader was Luke's father.
Man, your parents left you under a rock.
Well, they did and they didn't, because I watched Star Wars very young. And maybe I did know that, but I didn't put two and two together.
But right? I mean, it was such a pop culture thing. Like, it was referenced in so many other media facets.
But also, I never was around that. I grew up in, like, Hazel Green, Alabama, which is super country, It's, like, in the middle of nowhere, and none of my friends were talking about it. But, so, no, I didn't know anything about it. But what plays into your argument is, so this ultra crazy, intense, especially for like a 6-year-old or however old I was very, very young. Super intense lightsaber battle. Darth Vader's throwing stuff at Luke, and he, for some reason, can't hit any of it. He gets thrown out a window. There's more lightsaber fights, and then Luke gets his hand chopped off. The hero gets his hand chopped off. I start crying. Luke loses a hand. And at the time, obviously, you watch it for the first time, you don't know he's going to get a robot hand. Yeah. I start crying. Like, Luke just lost his hand. He can't use the Force, which obviously, I didn't get it.
The Force was all in the
So
hands.
I'm already crying, and my parents are like, okay, settle down, Braden. And then whenever Darth Vader says, "I am your father," I legitimately have a little panic attack, and they have to stop the movie.
You did this a lot.
Well,
You're a sensitive boy.
I had said this in a previous episode. I've told this story before, that I did have a panic attack, and they had to stop the movie, send me to my room, and say, "Come out when you know it's just a movie and you're okay." Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that happened, but also I didn't get to finish the movie. Mm-hmm. So it plays in both hands. I was so shocked, and I forever have that experience, and it's a fun story. But also, I didn't get to finish the movie until like an hour or two later, whenever they were not mad at me for being such a pansy, right?
Right, but if that weren't the case, if you just kept watching the movie, you would have missed the story because you would have been so thinking about the huge plot point.
Yes, but I wouldn't trade that for anything because that shocked the crap out of me.
That's fair, but also getting sent to your room for an hour the first time is no way to watch Star Wars.
Doesn't matter, man. I was so into it.
Not worth it.
It was worth it.
No.
Yes, it was.
Braden, they had to stop the movie for you. That's not worth it.
It is worth it.
That took you completely out of the rest of the movie. You didn't experience the movie fully the first time. You experienced two different things.
It doesn't matter. I had that one insane, too much emotion moment because of a plot twist of a movie.
Yeah, I
That's
get
a special thing.
That is special, but I'm saying at the same time, you didn't get to finish out the movie with that feeling.
Is it more special to have it spoiled and then hyperventilate, or sorry, to watch it without being spoiled?
I think
and
you'd
then
have been just as hyped.
Or would it? No. Because also, 9 out of 10 people won't hyperventilate if they didn't have that spoiled.
That's true.
That is just an extreme reaction.
That's very specific.
That happened whenever I was young, and I don't react to movies like that anymore. But I'd
like to see you react to a movie. I wait for that movie that you react like that to.
Yeah.
I welcome it.
I would love to see it as well.
I wait for the day that we watch a movie and you have to leave the theater because you have to go throw up in the bathroom. I want that movie to happen.
See, but that plays into my hand because you want something like that. You want that experience with a friend or something you can experience together, and if you spoil it, you won't get it.
Yeah, but if you spoil it at the same time, you're not missing out on a movie because you're throwing up in a bathroom. That's all I'm saying. You see where I'm landing?
If you don't know.
And to be fair, I agree with you. Yeah. I'm literally just on this side of the argument for the sake of the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do agree with you on what you're saying. Yeah. Just for the sake of continuing the conversation from both sides of this tipping scale.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, make that make sense. I agree that no movie should be spoiled. No film enjoyer should have a movie spoiled by their in-laws or brothers or friends or Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or YouTube. That's unfair. I think I agree with you that I would rather just get it in the moment, for the sake of the argument is why. And I think if I'm understanding correctly from what, all these articles are saying is that people feel more satisfied at the end of the movie when they already knew the outcome, right?
Right.
And it makes sense on paper, but it doesn't have the same emotional value, which I think we can agree on. I would rather emotionally be just shocked and wowed
and throw up in a urinal.
Right. Than to have a movie ruined for me just so I can sit through it and be like, oh, that was such a great movie. I'm so glad I knew that they all came back at the end.
Yeah. If you don't know the story about me getting sick in a movie, go back to episode 20 on the movies that made us.
Yeah,
or 21.
I think it's the movies that made us.
It's the movies that made us. Watch that one. It's a fun one.
Yeah, that's a good one. But I mean, I agree. I think that's craziness. I think that's absolute crazy behavior. But it had to be talked about. It had to be discussed. But
absolutely.
I mean,
I would honestly like to see, I would like to be a part of that study and see, because also it all depends on what the form of media is, if they were showing us a short film, but they spoiled the end and told us the meaning behind it before we even watched it, then you could appreciate certain things. But I firmly believe, especially, and this could all just be me, but I don't think it is. If I watch a short film, and then somebody tells me what the meaning is behind it, or I figure out what the meaning is behind it in the end of the movie, and I rewatch that film or that short film or whatever, then you can pick up on
the nuances.
Well, what leads to it, you know?
But that should be your choice. It shouldn't be spoiled by someone else.
Exactly. Unless you just like it. Unless you just.
And I mean,
I know a couple people like that.
My sister-in-law Morgan spoils every movie for herself immediately before watching it. She literally will get online and read the entire synopsis to the movie.
That's
to
crazy.
The end, and then watch the movie. I don't know why or how. I don't know what kind of crazy behavior that is, but she does that with every movie.
I'm all about light the fuse and then let it.
Yeah, I agree.
Blow up.
I agree completely. And I think if you prefer to have big moments spoiled for some reason because it's more satisfying to you, that's fine.
Yeah.
I just think you're a crazy person.
I just think you should be punched in the throat. I'm just kidding.
And so, anyway, we've gotten some first looks at Dune.
Yeah.
Which looks awesome.
Star-studded.
It is stacked. The cast of this movie is Timothée Chalamet, Oscar Isaac, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson, Josh Brolin, Dave Bautista, Jason Momoa, Javier Bardem, Stellan Skarsgård, to name a few. This movie looks awesome. I don't know if you know a lot about Doom. I don't know if you know a lot about Dune. That's what happens when I try to read and talk at the same time. But this movie looks really cool.
Does.
Obviously, Denis Villeneuve or Nueve?
The D-Man.
The D-Man. I mean,
D-Man
he
himself.
did Sicario, Arrival, Blade Runner, and now he's doing Dune.
Yeah.
Dune is basically Game of Thrones in space for anybody who doesn't know what it is.
It's
where they find this planet that they nicknamed Dune, and the planet, and you might know more about it than I do. This is just based on, but on the planet they find like a spice that is capable of making men smarter or making women telepathic, or it like can heighten different senses, and so then everybody wants the spice. Anyway, Dune looks super cool. Do you think that this could be like one of those like big, and it's going to be two movies because the D-Man, Denis Villeneuve, I'm assuming. I don't
just
know if
the
that's
D-Man.
How to pronounce his name. Sorry, Dennis, I know you listen to the show. But, I think he's putting it into two movies because just the story and the universe is just so vast that he said like this couldn't be done in one movie.
He is an incredible filmmaker that nobody really knows about. Mm-hmm. So all of his movies are bangers. Like Sicario is amazing. Arrival is great. Blade Runner 2049 is one of my top 10 favorite movies.
Yeah, it's awesome.
None of his movies made any money. I have no clue why a studio would allow him to do a franchise, other than the fact that every movie he makes is great.
Right.
Like pick one out, watch it. It's a great night. It's a great movie. But if we're talking about a movie studio, they're all about the money.
Right.
Which is fine. Movies are a business. Mm-hmm. I don't understand how he's employed. Blade Runner 2049 was a huge flop. Nobody went to see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Arrival is not a blockbuster. I don't think it made it. It might have made its money back. And Sicario was probably...
Prisoners was kind of big. He did Prisoners.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. He hasn't had a lot of huge success. And I think that says a lot about him as a director.
Yeah.
That he keeps getting these big, stories.
Yeah.
Because he's an amazing director. Sicario is one of the best directed movies.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It is, absolutely.
From a directorial standpoint.
Absolutely.
There's so many intense scenes that are directed and blocked so well that you feel like you're there.
Yeah.
But I guess my question, and as Dune moves forward and releases this
There's been
year,
no trailer.
There's been no trailer. There's just been some stuff, like some photos. And if you want to see some photos, you can go to our Instagram. But it looks cool.
It looks awesome.
It looks expansive. It looks like a universe that like a lot of sci-fi lovers can really get into together.
Yeah.
And that's kind of exciting to me because I feel like we haven't had a new franchise that could potentially be,
This could potentially be huge.
Yeah.
everything that he's proven himself to be great at, I hope it is huge for him and also for us, because this means we get more of it.
Yeah.
Blade Runner 2049 is actually...
It's a masterpiece.
I was about to say it's one of but it is the most beautiful movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
it's
beautiful.
Beautiful.
It is beautiful. Mm-hmm. And also, the story's great, performances are great, blah, blah, blah. Watch it, because you probably haven't seen it. Mm-hmm. But from a visual standpoint, from a storytelling standpoint, from an acting standpoint, all of the people in it, this is going to be an incredible movie.
Yeah.
Like, hands down, I just hope it's successful.
Yeah.
Because what if they're already making 2 movies and they're making 2 movies and the studios are going to release it regardless?
Yeah.
But I just hope like we get more.
Yeah. And arguably, I think the failure of Blade Runner is how long it is. It's almost 3 hours long. If he would have gotten the opportunity to split it into 2 movies and make them 2 hour 45 to 2 hour movies instead of 2 and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe that would have helped people go see it, because I'm sure a lot of people were like 3 hours
in a movie theater. No, thank you.
You know, and I'm sure that was a lot of the reason why a lot of people didn't watch it, which is I don't understand that logic personally, but I can see why someone would be like, I don't want to commit 3 hours to sitting in an uncomfortable seat in a movie theater.
It depends on the movie.
Yeah, that movie's worth sitting 3 hours.
Absolutely, but like It Chapter 2, about the same runtime, it felt every minute like that long.
Yeah,
that movie was too long, and honestly, I don't think Blade Runner is too long.
I think
it's too long for the general public.
For the general public, absolutely, and
I think that they're learning from their mistake. If they're letting him split it into 2 movies, then maybe it could be more palatable.
I think that they're seeing the potential for this to be another Star Wars, like another
Star Wars
big franchise.
Star Wars has come to an end for now. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they're not done with it, but regardless on if they're done with it or not, which they're not, it is the most divisive fan group in the world. Yeah, like it is toxically divided. Mm-hmm. Whether you love the sequels or
prequels
doesn't matter.
Yeah,
everybody hates something about it. Everybody's going to say Star Wars sucks at some point, right? Unless you're a fan like us and we just like Star Wars. Period. Yeah, and
they exist too.
Yeah, but there's not that huge franchise right now other than Marvel.
Right, and Marvel, I think even Disney can sense it. Marvel's starting to get oversaturated.
Right. Maybe this whole COVID-19 thing has done us all a favor, and because now all we want is a Marvel movie. Mm-hmm. But there's room on the table for this big new thing. Right. And Dune, it already has a movie. I think it's just one movie, isn't it?
Yeah, the original from the 80s.
Yeah, that's the only one I've seen. It's great. Watch it.
It's a David Lynch movie.
But that says it all. Yep. But also, nothing's been done with it. It's untapped potential.
Yeah, and it was a huge book series. Like, it's based on a book series that has tons of material to pull into movie format, and it just hasn't. It's sci-fi. It's kind of
like Middle Ages, but also it's
Game of Thrones in space is the best way I can explain it.
But it's not steampunk. No, it's not steampunk. Which
it's spacey.
It's hard to explain, but also just watch a movie or just look at the pictures. You'll get the vibe.
Yeah, it's like very organic future.
Yes,
which is super cool.
Very cool.
But I'm just excited. I think that it could be something really cool and really fresh and unique and new. And I feel like the reason that the cast is so star-studded is because much like Star Wars, it can go in many different directions.
It can.
Or much like, not really Star Wars as much like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You know, you can do Dune, and then you can do the sequel, and then you can do a whole series just about Oscar Isaac's character, or just about Zendaya's character. I don't know a whole lot. We need to just rewatch the original, because I haven't seen it since I was, young. But anyway, I think that's why the cast is, what it is so that they can do a lot of different things with it. And they've got, I think...
Bro, I'm about to pee my pants. I have to go.
We're almost done.
I can't anymore, man. I'm sorry.
You started squirming.
I did. I was like... I can talk for another 30 minutes.
We'll be done in 5.
I know. I couldn't do it, man. So sorry.
We're back. Right in the middle of the point that I was making.
I'm so sorry, man.
It doesn't matter. I'm looking forward to Dune.
I am too, and I was loving the conversation, but I was like, this is about to end, and I have to be.
That's it for this episode. I'm glad that I hope it was worth it. Thank you guys for joining us on Podzilla.
No. I loved this episode.
We hope you enjoyed this episode so much, and I hope it was worth it for you to go use the bathroom. And we're closing out the episode. No. Go eat your enchiladas. Go eat your enchiladas.
I don't wanna.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Podzilla. We hope you enjoyed yourself. You can follow us on Instagram at pod.zilla. You can email us. You can email us at thepodzillashow@gmail.com. You can also comment down below, what would you spend an exorbitant amount of money on as far as movie props are concerned? So let us know in the comments below. Go check out Keys to the Kingdom, a podcast, D&D podcast about
it's much
a world
more
based on maybe, who knows how they deal over there. It's a D&D podcast based around a world of fantasy by way of Disney. It's really cool. It's really fun, and we're really proud of all the people involved in that.
So sad.
Until next time. No time for love, Dr. Jones.
No time for love. Man, I don't even... Just cut it here.
Come on and hear Alexander's ragtime band. Come on and hear, it's the best band in the land. They can play a bugle call like you never heard before, so natural that you wanna go to war. That's just the bestest band what I am on the honey lamb. Come on along, let me take you by the hand. Up to the man, who's the leader of the band. And if you care to hear the Swanee River play,